Good afternoon, class 12 students of Bio Group. Today we continue with the study and understanding of chapter 1 of reproduction in organisms. Children, as we see, children, that in the last video, which was video 1, we had studied about the reason of living organisms to live, which is to reproduce and to multiply their own kind. And they have different lifespans. Like we studied about the mode of reproduction with various vegetative, asexual and sexual means. Today in video 2, we continue with the study of the means of asexual reproduction. The first one that we see here is gemmule formation. Do you see here, children? Here we see another one about the asexual reproduction in video 2 about gemmule formation. And in this we see that all freshwater sponges like Spongilla and some marine sponges also, they reproduce by formation of specialized endogenous buds. Endogenous means inside the body, inside the middle of the body, the endogenous buds are formed. And here we see that these buds inside are called gemmules, or they are the internal buds. Then we see that in freshwater sponges, the gemmules are formed by accumulation of archaeocytes. And these archaeocytes, they are laden with reserve food materials and have thick chitinous inner and thin outer membrane. And we see in marine sponges, the gemmules, they develop as clusters of archaeocytes, and they are surrounded by a thin membrane of flat cells all around them. Then we see that each gemmule appears as a small hard ball. If you look here, each gemmule, it looks like a hard small ball, and it's having a small opening. It has an opening at one end. And after the gemmule formation, the original sponge disintegrates and the gemmules, they begin to float on water. In favorable conditions, the gemmules, they germinate and they produce new sponges. So these new gemmules which are spread and float on the surface of water, these begin to germinate and they produce new sponges. Likewise, in regeneration, if you look here, we see regeneration. The lower organisms like Hydra, we see the example of Hydra, we also see starfish, they have the power of replacement of the lost parts. And this phenomenon of replacement of the lost parts is known as regeneration. The regeneration can occur at the levels of the cells, or at the levels of tissues, or at the levels of organs. Example, if Hydra is cut transversely, as you see, here are the cuttings of Hydra. There is a transverse cutting into two or more parts. Each of the parts, they develop into an entire animal. As you can see here, that every part is developing into, whether it's the middle part or the top part or the lower part of Hydra, they all develop into the entire animal. And even the small portions of Hydra, if they contain both ectoderm and the endoderm, the smallest parts of Hydra, if they are containing the ectoderm and the endoderm, that means the inside layer and the outside layers, it can grow into an entire animal, children. Even starfishes, when broken into several pieces, then each piece develops into a new starfish. Then let's see, there are some differences. There are some differences between the asexual and the sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, we see there is no mixing of genetic material. Therefore, there is less variation because no mixing of genetic material takes place, and it has got no great evolutionary potential. There is no chance of new traits or new genes developing. Whereas in sexual reproduction, the genetic mixing is so much that more variation is produced and the greater evolutional potential is seen in sexual reproduction. Then again, the second aspect of difference is in asexual reproduction, no gamete formation, fertilization, everything is absent. Whereas here gametes are formed and fertilization always occurs in the sexual reproduction. Then in asexual reproduction, children, usually more offsprings are produced, but in sexual reproduction, fewer offsprings are produced. Then in asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved, but in sexual reproduction, usually, normally two parents are involved, the male and the female. Then we see in the asexual reproduction, it's a very fast process, rapid and quick process, and it happens in favorable conditions. Whereas sexual reproduction is a much slower process. Then we see that asexual reproduction involves only mitosis, whereas sexual reproduction involves both meiosis, that means first changing into haploid, and then mitosis. So both the cell divisions are involved in sexual reproduction. Then we see in asexual reproduction, it occurs in lower invertebrates, lower chordates, and plants with simple organizations. Whereas the sexual reproduction occurs almost in all types of animals and mostly in higher plants it occurs. Then we see another aspect is fragmentation. In filamentous algae, we see fragmentation takes place in filamentous algae. Fragments are made in filamentous algae like Eulothrix, in Spirogyra, etc. The thallus breaks into small fragments, and each fragment it develops into a new thallus. And the fungus also shows this. Fungus, small fragments of the hypha, they are broken from the parent mycelium, and each hypha then finally develops into a new individual. Then we see spore formation. The spores in algae, we see that the algae reproduce through spiral reproductive structures. Most common ones are motile zoospores and non-motile aplanospores, or the hypnospores, which directly germinate to form new individuals. In Chlamydomonas also we can see, which is a unicellular alga, here zoospores form under favorable conditions. The cell withdraws its flagella once, and after the cell has withdrawn its flagella and becomes non-motile or non-movable, then the protoplast, it divides longitudinally to form 4 or 8 or more uninucleate protoplasts within the parent wall. So all these protoplasts, daughter protoplasts, are formed inside the parental cell wall, and each protoplast then secretes a cell wall around itself, and then each develops flagella in it, and each flagellate daughter cell is now known as a zoospore. We see in fungi also, it can be seen, different kind of spores can be seen in fungus also. We see spores from form and showing variation in color, in size and shape. There are two asexual spores that are formed. There are spongiospores that are formed, sporangiospores, from which the spores come out, and the conidia. These are the two spores that are found in fungi. So in sporogenesis, we see what happens. This produces within sporangia. Example, the lower fungi. One example of lower fungi is Pythium, and these are motile spores, and they are called zoospores. The fungal zoospores within cell wall have one or two flagella, as we can see here, that within the cell wall they have one or two flagella. In mucorales, that means in Rhizopus, they are non-motile, and they are known as aplanospores that are produced. And we see that the aplanospores have typical cell walls around them. Then we see the conidia or the conidiospores. These are found in different groups of fungi, and these are produced exogenously, that means outside the body of the fungus. On conidiophores, the conidia, they are found on the conidiophores attached outside. Example, Aspergillus and Penicillium. Here we see conidia are formed. Then let us see some differences, children, between the binary fission and the multiple fission. We see here that in binary fission, it produces two daughter individuals in binary fission, children, whereas in multiple fission it produces a number of daughter individuals. Then we see in binary fission, nucleus of the parent body divides only once, and we see in multiple fission the nucleus divides repeatedly several times. Then in binary fission we see a difference, that this occurs during favorable conditions, but multiple fission, it takes place under favorable conditions, and plasmodium as well as unfavorable conditions. Amoeba is an example which does multiple fission in unfavorable conditions, but in favorable conditions plasmodium shows it. Then we see that in binary fission it makes organism immortal, and the organism never dies. Example, bacteria, euglena, paramecium, planaria, in Vorticella. Whereas we see in multiple fission the immortality is absent in organisms. For example, plasmodium, monocystis, etc. But we see one example of amoeba. Amoeba shows both binary as well as multiple fission. So this is an example which shows both kinds of fission. Then we see the vegetative propagation in plants. In vegetative propagation in plants, regeneration of new plants from a part of the vegetative organ, this is called vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation. Natural vegetative propagation can be seen here, children. And we see the portion detaches from mother plant body and grows into new independent plant. Example, stems are there, as examples, roots, leaves of flowering plants, they get variously modified. The underground stems are stems and buds that are produced in them. They grow into new plants, like we see in many varieties of ginger. You can see here that it forms a rhizome here, and the rhizome are thick. They are prostrate underground stems that grow horizontally inside the soil, beneath the soil. Example, ginger, as I gave you, and it's called Zingiber officinale. Then turmeric or haldi, which is called Curcuma domestica, and banana are some of the examples. Then we see the example of a tuber. If you see here, this is example of a tuber, and in this modified underground stem accumulates reserve food material. As you can see here inside, children, there is reserve food material in the form of starch in this modified underground tuber, which you can see here, children. And we see that this accumulates reserve food material at the tips of the branches. Example, potato, called Solanum tuberosum. Then we also see, children, that bulbs are found. This is an example of bulb of onion. This is formed, and the short and thickened underground stem axis represented by a convex or cortical disc. Now here, can you see a convex or cortical disc, children? This convex or cortical disc is detached, and when this is sown into the soil, then we see that a new plant is formed. For example, in onion, Allium cepa is the name of onion. Then we see another example of corm, which you can see here. In corm also, children, the condensed underground stem, this grows vertically. The condensed underground stem, it grows vertically down into the soil, and it bears buds. Example, gladiolus, the flowers that you have already studied. So gladiolus corm is an example of underground stem. So children, we will finish this video here itself, and we will start with subaerial stem modifications in the next video. So till then, wish you all the best. Have a good day. Thank you.